Hi, how are you? First of all, I'm really happy to be here and I'd like to thank RDIA for inviting me here. Um, Very excited. Yeah, so a little bit introduction about myself. And I hope everyone has heard the linear city that we're building in Neom called the Line, right? I had the cognitive and digital function and technology function in the Line. For the past 25 years, I've primarily focused on many technology field. Before joining Neom, funny, I was talking about this with my colleague Alicio, that I was building crypto and blockchain project back in the US. And then for the past 3 years, I came to Neom, put a focus in smart city, with a primary focus in data and AI technologies for the city. My career has been a blend of startups and enterprise. I'm a founder of 2 startup companies. Right now, I live in Neom for the past 3 years. It's a tremendous opportunity to witness the growth here in the kingdom. At the Line, our ambitions are big. The Line is going to be a continuous project for many years to come. It's a huge city that we're building. So from a cognitive technology and digital perspective, our ambition starts with a digital foundation that's going to be future-proof because we want to grow with the city, right? You can't just build something temporary and it eventually stops growing. Secondly, we want to bring experience not only to people, but also business because it's a city. City is about both. It's about business growth and people's experience. Lastly, if you think about the past 10 years, a decade and a half, right? Smart city has really become the trend for every country. And a lot of cities today have some smart city components, but there's only a few benchmarks in the world that can call leading smart cities. You think about Shanghai, Shenzhen, Singapore, right? That's about it. In 10 years, we want the Line to become the benchmark for the world. Our ambition is that in 10 years, when people talk about what is a cognitive city example, they think about the kingdom and they think about Line in Neom. But what is a cognitive city? That's a question everybody asks, right? There's many answers to that. Some people say it's data, some people say it's about application, but I want to start with hardware and software. A cognitive city starts with hardware. What is hardware? Okay, before I go to there, think about Tesla car. What defines the Tesla car as a revolutionary product is 2 things. One, it changed the landscape of a car itself, right? What used to be gasoline become battery operated. What used to be engine now become a motor. It's all hardware, but from the shape, it's still a car. It still have chassis, it still have axle, it still have wheels. But the experience of that car come from where? It come from the software inside of the vehicle. Every update of the vehicle, it brings something new, whether it being autonomous driving, a security update, you can plug in Spotify to listen to your music. These are all new things introduced to the driver experience. The ever-evolving software defines what the car is going to be, so is cognitive city. Once we build the modules of the Line, the hardware become relatively static. That is your infrastructure running in the Line, your design, your cables, your connectivity network, compute, et cetera, right? But the software needs to continue to evolve to address new requirements in the Line, in the city, as well as new innovations coming along as technology advances, right? So first and foremost, cognitive city is about hardware and a continuously evolving software. But you may ask, okay, is the Line going to build every software in there? No. We cannot do that. The reason being is the requirements for the city is too vast. And here I want to give you a second example. That's called an Apple iPhone. I think everybody has a smartphone today, right? Back in 2007, when Steve Jobs went on stage, announced the iPhone, everything inside of the iPhone is built by Apple. Very quickly, a year and a half later, 2008, they announced a revolutionary product called the App Store. Why do they do that? Because they realized, as powerful as Apple, they cannot build everything to meet the demand in a phone. And today, if you use your iPhone and an Android phone, what do you use the most? Do you make phone calls? or do you use WhatsApp the most? Do you use just listening to, do you use YouTube? Do you use Spotify, etc.? These are all expanded functionality brought by the ecosystem to iPhone itself. Therefore, it becomes a habit. A cognitive city is about the same. We have to innovate together like iPhone, which means that you have to rely on private sector innovators to innovate with you, right? But we have to behave like an app store. What does App Store give to you? It's a trust of the application coming out from me will serve you. It's not malicious, right? It will serve the best interest of the people and the business. It's aimed for productivity. That's what we want to aim towards. A cognitive city is about building a brand of a digital ecosystem together and grow with that ecosystem. But what do we build into a digital ecosystem? So you think about what a city is for. A city is the equation of a demand and supply. Because there's many demand in the city, right? And there's many ways to serve that demand. So it's a gigantic function of a demand and supply. So the last example I want to throw you is Uber. What Uber did successfully, Uber did many things revolutionary, but one thing they did really revolutionary is digitize that demand and supply. That's called mobility, right? And then what they did is they digitized that demand and supply, they put it into a platform. Then the next thing they do is do that intelligently, of connecting digital demand and supply and putting the best outcome to the end user experience. That's what we need to look for. We, the line, and the digital ecosystem that we create together, right, is about to address various different demand and supply in the city. Digitize them, then eventually address them. But so far, what I'm describing is just really smart functions. There's nothing cognitive in there. So how do we bring this to the next stage? That's called cognitive city. It's AI, right? I mean, the answer is very, very obvious. And we're very fortunate in a stage of time where agentic AI and AGI has become a reality. Last year, Sam Altman said 2025 is about AI agents. And Jensen Huang said, in the future, every corporate is going to become an AI company. And I would say in 20 years, every city is going to become an AI city. And we're going to set the trend on that. So what does the AI agent do for a city? Is to satisfy what I just described, digitized demand and supply. I'll give you one example. A new family moving to the line. If you move into a new city, what's the first thing you want to solve? Finding a place to live, right? In the past, what do? You find a human agent. You give them the requirement, they go out and find something, or you go out to the market and you find the corresponding rooms, apartments, house that you would like to live. In a smart city, what do? You go to a platform where listings are available. You spend hours and days, and etc., to find the appropriate place for you to live. In an agentic cognitive city, you employ a thing called an AI agent for yourself. Every business is going to be represented by an AI agent. So now imagine this, right? You go into a cognitive city, you can hire an agent to represent yourself. It knows your requirement. You give it a task. Find the apartment that fits my taste, my income, and where my family of four can live. What it does in the milliseconds of a time, right, is going to go out there, discover the providers of the supply. That's called a room availability. Instead of a platform, just let the AI agent talk. And what you used to spend hours and days in finding a space available for you is probably going to take you a minute now, right? Imagine the time saved and the productivity come with that. Imagine you can spend 2 days of time, right? Think about idea, creating a startup. Imagine the time you can take your kids to a movie, buy popcorn, etc. It eventually translates to what? It translates to GDP for the city. Because now you have a productivity coming from services to address something that used to take your time. And that time now you saved, you can do something much better. That's the relationship that we want to define in the cognitive city. But besides demand and supply, right, the intelligence, again, is to be provided by the city as well as a digital ecosystem that we want to build together. What the city is going to do is provide a long-lasting digital infrastructure to support that, and on top of that, just like App Store, right? It has to provide governance. Because coming with AI is something that you don't understand. There could be malicious intent, right? Just for the basics, hallucination, data poisoning, et cetera, it could cause issues. But it also, there's going for, I believe this, for every good actor, there's two bad actors. Will scam something out of you. So we'll have to provide that governance to provide the trust while we give the intelligence and cognitiveness within a city. In the long run, in the beginning, just like Apple, right? We're going to build a lot of applications, a lot of AI agents to serve the city. But in the long run, we will rely on a digital ecosystem to provide that. The city's role is evolving into infrastructure play and a governance play to provide that trust. So to achieving there, it doesn't stop. We have to give citizens and business the choice. It's not going to be, hey, you know what, we'll provide this, so you have to use it. No, that's not the case. Because you, every one of us, right, is still at the center of decision making. Earlier, I said one keyword, you hire an AI agent. That keyword is hire. You can do that, or you can just use traditional smart city method. You can still go to a platform. That will still be available in the city. But for people who focus on productivity, just like today, why do you use an app in your phone, right? Because it helps you to manage things. Hopefully in tomorrow, when the city is fully functional, people will be open-minded and focus on more how these things are going to help me so I can do other things better. But again, business and people are at the center of the decision to use that service. We don't enforce on you. Again, the city and the private sector is to grow those agent network and address different demands and supply those demands in the city. And the city provides a platform and foundations to ensure the success of the operation. So what is a cognitive city? I suppose to do this from ground up, but we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. First of all is about the design itself, right? Your city has to design well enough to support the cognitive function and livability focus and so on, right? And secondly is about a future-proof infrastructure. That's making sure as the city grows, your infrastructure can take the load and satisfy the demand. Then it's about the adaptive software system that continue to evolve to meet the new requirement innovation that will bring to the city. And then a dynamic digital system together public sector and private sectors to address these demands. And it has to be AI-driven, right? Because this is where we go from smart to cognitiveness. Lastly, is empowered for the community. Residents and business are at the center of a decision. You are empowered. We provide the service at the line, and you are the one that making decision whether or not you want to employ them. How do we get there? It's for the line. This is roughly the plan. Obviously, the real plan is much more sophisticated, right? First of all, we will have to develop a resilient infrastructure. Like I said, this is the fundamental. You don't have the infrastructure, everything else is empty. Secondly, I'm so glad earlier there was a panel that my colleagues was talking about how AI and the data are a one-two punch, right? They're connected. You cannot grow AI without data. But in a city, it's a lot of data. And it's a lot of data coming from public sectors and private sectors. We have to establish a thing that's called a common data backbone, right? For the purpose to ensure quality of the data and share of the data, and as well as provenance of the data. You know where data come from, right? So your AI agents will be able to use these data to do the good thing. Secondly is about common language. For me to stand here to talk English, you understand, right? If I start cracking my Spanish, you wouldn't understand it. But So it's the same thing for software and agents, right? They need to talk about a same language. So what is that same language? For those of you who are familiar with the open banking APIs in the UK, it provides the same language for financial institute, so that traditional banking infrastructure can talk to new products and so on, right? We need to create similar things for city. It has to be an open API, in a sense, in a standard, that AI can talk to AI, servers can talk to servers, and application can talk to application, right? It will be across different ontologies and domains within the city. It's actually a huge task. And then we'll have to build the initial AI agents. It's the city's responsibility to set example, just like Apple built the first wave of applications, right? Then is the platform. It's open, it's governable to ensure trust. Last phase is going to continue to evolve. We cannot predict the future and how things are going to go. Early in the morning, we talked about quantum. We don't know where it's going to go for the city, right? But we have to keep an open mind on how they will help us to shape up the cognitive city in the future. So in here, I'll end my presentation. The future is cognitive, and it takes all of us to grow that city together. Thank you.